Hello everybody, this is Sadie and welcome back to Katawa Shoujo, part 8. 8, yep, 8. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. What was last time was there, right? To town. I am going to assume that because it's been a little while since I haven't played it. The last time I shot an episode of Katawa Shoujo was a long time ago when I'm literally shooting this video. So yeah, I'm gonna lower a bit the music because it's very loud. Alright. Okay. Floods of students pour out the school gates and onto the road into town. It's all weird. It's almost a scene from any other high school, but the illusion fades because of the occasional wheelchair or missing limb. Also, if you've watched last episode, you know that we're officially on HANAKO'S route, this girl right here on the left, and it's gonna be the only route of this Let's Play because this game is a long-ass game if I do every route, so I'm gonna keep it down to myself, which is also a way to ask you to play the game yourself, since it's free and you have no reason not to, except maybe lack of time. Anyway, I read that. One thing I do notice is that nobody is alone. And as Hanako and I pass through the gates, I notice that she closes the distance between us. Not enough to be considered close, but she certainly isn't as at her usual just a little far position. I guess we're not familiar enough for her to get as close as she does with Lilly. However, even though she has moved a little closer to me physically, mentally she seems to have traveled a mile. Her hands clutched around the leather straps of her bag to the point of whitening her knuckles, her head down and her mouth pursed closed. She almost looked like she's being walked to the principal's office for the first time. I tried to stifle a giggle at the thought, but it is futile. What's the matter? I guess there's no point in hiding it. Oh right, sorry, it's Hanako who spoke. What's the matter? I guess there's no point in hiding it. Sorry, for a second there it looked like you were getting in trouble. Whoa, she's angry? What do you mean? I think you need to relax a little. We're not going too far, and it's only students around, right? Right. It bothers me a little to see Hanako so worked up. And you do this every week, don't you? Yes, with Lilly. Of course, with Lilly. I wonder has she ever left the school without her? It doesn't seem like much at first glance, but Hanako's dependence on Lilly is absurdly heavy. If she can't even handle leaving the school without her, how would she have managed to survive if the two had never met? Would she have found someone else to latch onto? And what drew her to Lilly? Was it her lack of eyesight, or was Lilly just kind enough to lend a hand? I wonder if anyone would have fit the bill. Well, I'm here. Besides, we're not going far. It'll be over before you know it. Hanako's knuckles slowly regain their color as she tries to hide a small smile, but the effort of that seems to prevent further conversation. We travel side by side down the winding road towards the town. The crowd of students thins as we continue along the sidewalk. Faster students rush ahead and the less mobile ones fall behind, rarefying the crowd into nothingness. By the time we reach the convenience store, we're practically alone. Using me as a shield between herself and the attendant, Hanako moved through the narrow aisles, adding an assortment of items to her basket. Bread, milk, tea, thyme? What kind of convenience store sells herbs? Again, nothing about this town seems normal, which may not be such a bad thing in retrospect. Everything is so different and uncomfortable. Dwelling on such matters isn't really an option. When I think about that, it reminds me of Hanako. No matter how much you try, you can't escape her scars. They still interrupt my train of thought when I see them. As much as I don't want to admit it to myself, I think I'm forcing myself to try to ignore them. Now that I'm scar-free myself, the jagged line down my sternum will never completely fade away. I just have the luxury of being able to hide it easily. But in a way, both of our scars remind me that we're all in this place for a reason. Hanako throws one last item into her basket, then sheepishly holds it out to me along with a few banknotes. Could you please? It takes me a second to understand what she's trying to say. Oh, you want me to pay for this? She nods but doesn't look up. I guess this why did I say tasks? Task, you stupid I hate my life. Task falls to Lilly on the usual occasions. Oh, I'm sorry, but every time I open my mouth, I have to yawn every 2 seconds. I'm really sorry about that. It's not that the game is boring, it's literally just a me problem. Sure, let me just grab a couple of things. Hastily, I grab a few essentials items for myself and head for the counter with Hanako in close tow. The attendant gives me an indifferent nod as he scans in the items. I suppose just ignoring us is one way to deal with the anomalies of Yamaku. They must get a lot of students here, being the closest start to the school. Sorry, the staff must all have their own way of dealing with us, or maybe they don't. Maybe it's only me who thinks twice about my unique schoolmates. Our transaction complete, Hanako and I head back out onto the street. The road is pretty much abandoned now. The students that are heading out have already left, and nobody has started returning just yet. And with only the school ahead of the road, there doesn't seem to be anyone else around. The emptiness certainly reflects on Hanako, her arms by her sides, each carrying a bag, her head no longer bowed and back to the upright position. It's almost as if she were enjoying this walk. So why all these weird things? Mixed spice? Why would you need that in school? I sometimes like to make food. Well, yeah, so do I, but spices? That's a little more advanced, don't you think? Not really. Well, I think it's cool. You'll have to teach me one day. Sure. She doesn't seem all that sure, but pushing the point doesn't seem all that wise. At the very least, she seems a great deal happier than she did on the walk down here. That alone makes me a little happier. Outside the girls' dorm, Hanako and I sort out the grocery bags with our respective purchases. In comparison, my things look positively plain. I tell you, you're putting me to shame here. No, I'm not. I'm only joking. I have a stack of homework that I skipped last week, so I must leave now. Would be alright getting that to your room? Yeah. Sure? Okay then, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye. We part ways and I return to my room. Piles of papers sit upon my desk, begging to be completed. With the entire ruckus of the last week, I've barely had any time to catch up. I tried to keep on with my studies while I was in the hospital, but some of this stuff I've never seen before, even back in my old school. Totally unprepared, I pop the top on a can of drink and get to work. The days are really starting to heat up. This morning I awoke covered in sweat. By the time the student body starts leaving their dorm for breakfast and morning duties, the sun has taken full effect. Oddly, that puts me in high spirits. It's not even 8, yet I feel that this day is going to be one of those pleasant, tranquil, warm ones. If I weren't at a school that considered every absence from class as a sign of life-threatening situation, I'd consider skipping the whole day and just relaxing in the school gardens. Yes, today will be a generally lazy day. For a second, I stopped in mid-stretch and considered the nurse's warning about exercise. Maybe I should have kept up those morning jogs. Running with someone like Amy might have been a little testing, but if I worked at my own pace... Nah, who am I kidding? I couldn't stick to something like that without some kind of motivation. I can't sit around all day. The walk to and from the convenience store counts as exercise, right? Especially the walk back up the hill. Yeah, it's no big deal compared to month of lying in a hospital bed. I'm getting plenty exercise. Seems that I'm not alone in my appreciation of the day. Nearly every member of the class is glancing through the window and into the tantalizing sky. Even the steadfast Chizune seems to lack her usual vigor for schoolwork. Misha is present as ever, has even unbuttoned the top buttons of her shirt and is fanning herself with a notebook. Oh dear lord. Oh, I must have been staring, as she is now sticking her tongue out at me. However, she shows no signs of halting her efforts, nor is she trying to hide the fact. The lunch bells seem to catch everyone by surprise, and the class empties at a much slower pace than usual. The heat seems to be draining the need to rush from everyone. Well, almost everyone. Hey, Sao? Hey there, Hanako. What can I do for you today? Hanako already has a lunch bag in her hand. I'll have to be a detective to work out where this is going. Would you like to have lunch with us again? I brought enough for everyone. Awesome. You don't have to be so stiff about it, though. Right. I take it we're going to the tea room? Please? Lily said she'll meet us in there, so we should go ahead together. Sounds like a plan. This heat has made me pretty hungry. Hanako breathed a sigh of relief, and I gather my things together. As usual, the aura of the tea room is refreshing, being isolated from the rest of the world. Then again, the usual din of the school seems to be a bit subdued, most likely from laziness promoted by heat exhaustion. Hanako slowly spreads her food on the table, intently focusing on every little movement as if she's trying to keep her mind off of other thoughts. It's not much, but I can tell from her demeanor that she has prepared everything with utmost care. I guess Lily isn't here yet. Should we start without her? She'll be here soon. Hanako struggles with the lid of the container of rice. Here, let me help with that. I take the container from Hanako's hands and try to force open the lid. Try as I might, it seems wedged shut. Let me guess, you put this in while the rice was still hot? Yes, I was in a rush. Put the container on the table between us. I thought so. Looks like this is wedged shut. We'll need some hot water to get it open. But that could be a pain in here. Would get water everywhere. Well, oh, it's Lily. Well, in that case, how about I contribute to today's meal? At the door, Lily smiles while holding a bag stocked with various buns and bread rolls. I can't help but do the same. Since you two had a change of plans because of me, I thought I would bring a little something. Thanks, Lily. Here, let me get that for you. With a little guidance, Lily's bread assortment joins Hanako's rice-less platter. I hastily make some tea to complete the picture. Well, I'm looking forward to this. As I take a bite, I notice Hanako trying her hardest to not look like she is looking at me. It's nothing special, but then again I can't really complain. I'm pretty lazy when it comes to cooking for myself. Not bad. I guess this is made with the stuff you bought yesterday? Yes. Hanako's eyes shout at me, begging for some kind of feedback. Well, it was clearly worth it. Thanks, Hanako. I wanted to show you this after yesterday. It's okay. I was just a little surprised at the stuff you were buying. Hanako's always liked to experiment when it comes to food. I think it's good, most of the time. While Lily's smile doesn't waver, the slight change in her tone tells me that things have not gone so well in the past. It's not like Hanako has many people to sample her cooking. Hang on, was Lily waiting for me to go first? She didn't start eating until after I said it was alright. Her cheeky grin tells me that this was a deliberate action on her part. I have to try and work out how to get one over her in the future to make up for this. Well, it's good, and that's all that counts, right? Right. Lily, satisfied at not being the first to sample Hanako's creation, begins to consume the food in front of her. I find myself staring as I watch her chopsticks gently touch the plate, their tips delicately poking and tracing quickly ascertain the positions of the food as she dexterously picks it up. What was the point of that fucking sentence? Why? Are we reading an Honoré de Balzac novel? One might think she were a child playing with her food, if not for the situation, though she does it with such care and thoughtlessness that it's obvious this is simply how she eats this kind of meal. Not wanting to miss out, I start filling up myself. Hanako takes a different approach, waiting until Lily and I have our hands clear before quickly snatching up her share. Before long, the containers are empty, save for the still shut rice container. Thank you, Hanako, that was filling. No, thank you for the bread. Yeah, it would have been a disaster if not for that. You're both welcome. But now I must be getting back. It's far too easy to be late after eating here. Yeah, I see what you mean. I think we'll just clean up here and then head off. Well then, good day. Lily leaves, her cane tapping away down the quiet hallway. Hanako and I quickly pack our things and stay seated, waiting for the bell. Together, we stare out the window, and into the endless azure sky. If it weren't for the pealing of the bells, I would have sworn that time had stopped. The urge to skip class rises in my gut. I should have glanced at Hanako, who shows no signs of moving either. Not just yet. The interval between the warning bell and the end of lunch bells passes in the blink of an eye. We really should go. People will freak out and start a search party. I'm gonna reread that whole sentence because I am tired of being so bad at English. We really should go. People will freak out and start a search party if we skip. Thank you. Hanako sighs. You're right. Slowly she rises to her feet and I follow suit. Suddenly we make our way up the old stairs to the 3rd floor and then to our classroom. At the door, I take point and open the door ahead of Hanako, bowing my head down in apology in advance. I'm sorry we're late, teacher. I'm grieved not by stern words, nor by an angered destruction to take my seat, but simply by the silence created by 15 or so students trying not to laugh. Muto, ever tardy as yet to arrive. However, the fact that Hanako and I have arrived together is blandly obvious. Make that about 14 students trying and 1 student failing. The lovers return! Why did I give Misha this fucking voice? Yeah, thanks. You can calm down now. I step through the door and realize that Hanako is firmly pressed against my back, hiding herself from the class. With my steps coming closer to my desk, she eventually breaks from me and stiffly walks to her own. Her efforts to mentally block everyone's presence from her mind are written fairly clearly on her face. Quickly checking the door for any signs of the teacher's arrival, I make a trip to Hanako's desk and whisper in her ear. Don't worry about Misha, she's always like this. I enjoyed myself today, don't sweat it, okay? Hanako nods her head behind her folded arms, but still doesn't show her face. I yearn to stay and console her more, but Muto picks this exact moment to enter the class halfway through his lecture, as if he started it in the hallway. Which of course is directly proportional to the charge, but inversely proportionally to the square of the distance. He's so engrossed in his speech that he doesn't even notice me sneaking back into my seat from Hanako's desk. While Muto's spiel rambles on, Misha leans over to me. The teacher may not have noticed your tardiness, but I did. That much is obvious from the show you just put on. I have been instructed to let you have the hook for today, but only on one condition. Oh, and what would that be? You have to help us this afternoon. I crane my neck to look over Misha's shoulder. Chizune is conveniently not making eye contact with me. Fine, just for today. I've already told you I'm not joining the council, remember? Of course, doing so could be considered... She looks down at her notebook, obviously looking for her place in her script. Under duress and hence would be against regulations. Oh, very strange of you to be considerate of the regulations now. Things should be done by the book. It's just that the book hasn't been written for every situation, so there are times when common can be ignored. And yet you two wonder why no one else wants to be in the student council. After poking her tongue at me, Misha returns to her workbook and battle our way through the latter half of the school day. Can something fucking happen, please? I would be glad. Before I can even stand up, Misha and Chizune have placed their hands on both my shoulders. Hey, I said I helped out, damn. This is just insurance. It's how insurance. Is how? Hanako timidly tries to leave the room by circling around us, and I suddenly realize that this may be my one chance to escape. Oh, hey Hanako, what's up? Hey, what makes you think you've got time to chat? Oh, relax, this won't take long. Sorry, Hanako, you were saying? I was going to go to the library, and I thought... Hanako's thumbs dance around each other, and her eyes flit around the room, looking everywhere but at us. Aww, she's so cute. Sorry, Hanako, but Hisao has to come with us. He's got work to do. Oh, but you can help too if you'd like. So how about it, Hisao? Hey, Shizune, I know I said I'd help, but I forgot I'd already made my plans. Besides, I helped out more than my fair share last week, didn't I? I promise I'll make it up to you some other time. Oh, Shizune and Misha release their grip on me and have a long, deep, and silent conversation. Well, you have a point there. To be honest, we're only going to spend the rest of the budget on cakes. So if you're not there, it works out better. More cake for us. Shizune about faces and marches out the door, and Misha skips out after her. Well, that was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. Last week, those two were like bloodhounds or prison guards. Or maybe prison guards bred from bloodhounds. I can't believe I just thought that, let alone saying it out loud. I think I need to move away from Kenji. Never mind. Anyway, should we go to the library? Sure. Hanako follows me through the still crowded halls to the library, using me as a shield. As soon as we were through the door, Hanako bolts from the counter, where Yuko is stacking books. Before I can catch up, Hanako has whispered something to her. You'd find that in non-fiction, but I don't know where exactly. If you want, I can look it up. Never mind. Hey, Yuko, what's all this about? Oh, it's how. Hanako was just looking for a book on... nothing. A book on nothing? in the non-fiction section. I, I was just... I should have glanced at Yuko. She looks like she's about to burst from the pressure of keeping Hanako's request secret. Yuko, what did... Chess! She's looking for a chess book! Make a mental note to never entrust Yoko with any important information. Yuko? I'm sorry, Hanako, it just slipped out. Well, it's not a secret anymore. Come on, I gave you a hand. I should really brush up on my skills, too. Oh, okay. Yuka disappears behind the counter in shame as Hanako and I wander into the depths of non-first section. Wait, hold on. Okay, sorry, there's someone who entered my room. Where was I? There we go. There's the game. Okay. Yuka disappears behind the counter in shame as Hanako and I wander into the depths of the non-fiction section. I know there is supposed to be a system for categorizing those books, but I don't see how anyone can decipher it without spending half of their lives researching it. It's probably why all the librarians I know are neurotic. Towards the end of the aisle, between a book on card tricks and some book on kids' games, stand a single book bearing the title Chess Tactics for Champions. Before I can reach for it, Hanako has the book in her hands, clutching it to her chest. Well, I guess that's yours then. Mind if I borrow it when you're finished? Sure, I just haven't really played against anyone but Lilly before, so I thought, damn, it's not like I was trying to beat an Hanako deliberately or anything. She seems to have taken it to heart. Then again, at least this means she wants to play with me again. That's plus, right? Ha! Well, it's not like I'm a master or anything. Just played a bit before. It occurs to me that I haven't even told Hanako about my condition. I faltered for a second, deciding to cover my tracks. There's a conversation for another day. Let me just eat. There we go. Before I came here. Are you alright? Yeah, I was just remembering something. I just realized that playing a game where I have to talk while eating isn't really the best idea in the world. But whatever. When I think about it, I shouldn't be afraid to tell Hanako about my condition and my time in the hospital. Judging by her scars, she probably spent a fair amount of time in a hospital bed. But for some reason, I can't bring it up. At least not today, not on short notice. Eager to break off the conversation, I grab a random book from the shelf. Some book on the world's fastest roller coasters. Published in 1982. Well, not very up to date, but it should at least be interesting. Well, we both got books now. Should we go sit down? Hanako seems to accept my bluff, and we head to the reading nook in the back of the library. Neither of us says a word. We simply open our books and start reading. Try to read my book, but it would seem that in 1982, roller coasters were nearly as large as the ones built in the decades since. Most of the ones listed are made of wood. Something about that doesn't seem safe to me. I'm going to ride on something potentially dangerous. I want it to be made out of steel or some kind of space-age alloy that has big words like titanium and ruthenium. I quickly lose interest and my eyes wander across the reading area to rest on Hanako. Hanako seems absorbed in her book, flicking back and forth through pages confirming what she just read. There's the two pictures. Hey, there's the game picture and there's the Hanako picture. I mean, it's not. It's well, anyway. Hanako seems absorbed in her book, flicking back and forth through the pages as if confirming what she just read. I wonder if that's actually effective or if she's just overloading herself. She unconsciously brushes her hair from her face, temporarily revealing her scars. I'm still not sure about the protocol here. Is it right to ask about their scars or her past? How long was she in the hospital? Does she still visit the doctor? These all seem like the questions that you ask someone who's just transferred to your school, translated into the local language. But to date, no one has directly asked me any of them. Well, except Rin, but I don't think I should use her as a guide to proper social behavior. Indeed. For the time being, I'll just keep my mouth shut. If someone wants you to know something, then they'll tell you. Trying to force the issue might drive Hanako back into herself. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I have to close the library now. Ready? Check my watch. Somehow I was lost. As I was lost in thought, nearly 2 hours have passed. You want to check out those books? I can do it on the way out. Please. I'm done. I've dropped this one back on the way through. It wasn't as interesting as I first thought. Hanako marks her place with a slip of paper and stands up. The girls head to the counter and I return my book to what I think is the right shelf. Yuko scans Hanako's book with practiced precision, yet still manages to fumble it. Oh, there we go. 3rd time lucky. Since this is a non-fiction book, you can only have it for a week. That's okay. Yuko shuts down the library's computer and hurries out the door. Ah! I didn't think it was this late already. But you're the one that told us you had to close. Yes, I know, but that was before I looked at the time. I'll see you later. Okay. Yuko bolts down the hall, her handbag trailing behind her like an awkward streamer. Okay. I guess all librarians really are neurotic. Uh-huh. Ah, never mind. I was just thinking that I've never met a librarian that can't organize their time, no matter how good they are with books. Oh, I know what you mean. Hanako smiles in amusement. It wasn't meant to be a joke, but I must have reminded her of some other librarian or something. I have to get back. Yeah, me too. I didn't realize it was this late. Thanks for letting me hang out with you. No problem. I'm going to my dormitory room now anyway. So, do you mind if I tag along? Okay. Hanako sets off ahead of me, and I need to juggle to reach her side. We walk through the gardens, eventually arriving in front of the dorm buildings. Man, you walk pretty fast. I used to play in a soccer club, and you managed to outpace me. Kinda regret saying that. It has less to do with her pace than with the fact that my condition has significantly worsened my fitness. Hanako's reaction is odd. I expected an awkward attempt to downplay her walking speed, but she just blushes while looking at her feet and smiling. Silence hangs in the air between us. That happens often around Hanako, but feels slightly different than usual this time. For a few seconds I try to break the silence. Here you go. See you in class tomorrow? Sure. Hanako waves a short goodbye before pushing her way through the dorm's doors. I stand and look at them for a while before making my way to my own dormitory room. Bam bam boom, 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 bam bam boom. Chirping birds. Normally this would be a good time to reflect upon the beauty of nature, but it is 6 a.m. Covering my head with the pillow, I slam my face into the mattress, hoping that the impact will send me instantly back to sleep. Futile. I toss and turn, but sleep simply won't return to me. Alright, nature, you've won, see? I'm getting up now. The lack of sleep weighs my mind down, and there's only one remedy for this: a nice hearty breakfast. It would be nice to be the first person here, to be the first to dig into a piping hot pile of food, to sit wherever I desire. It would have been nice, but even my exceptionally early start has put me behind the most diligent students. I guess there are quite a few people that have early starts here, for one reason or another. A group of students in sports clothes huddle around one table, eagerly discussing game plans in between inhaling great gobs of food. Scattered around the hall are a number of bleary-eyed students, probably suffering from the same ailment as myself, noisy birds. And of course, there are the people that actually enjoy getting up this early, the ones with their bags stuffed with textbooks and completed homework. What am I saying? It's hard not to despise people like that, even more so when you're tight yourself. Picking out a familiar face from the thin crowd, I head towards the nearest table. Lilly sits alone, delicately feeling her way around a small plate of eggs with her fork. Almost ashamed to interrupt her and her clockwork movements. I wonder if this is how a blind person zones out, simply moving in predetermined pattern learned over the years, just like how a sighted person would eat while reading a newspaper. Good morning, Lilly. I didn't expect you to be here this early. Oh, it's how you startled me. I didn't know you took breakfast this early. I don't. This is an exception. I am tired of... Oh my god! I don't! Okay, I don't. This is an exception to the rule. I greatly prefer to be late to school than early to breakfast. Lily gives a small sigh at my admitted tardiness as I begin eating my food. Doesn't take long for her There's a do! For her to lapse back into her previous mindless nibbling. Each short. Why did you say short? Why can't you say a single fucking sentence right? And why are you speaking like fucking Eminem right now, but you can't concentrate on words? Each short motion lacks energy. I suppose this is similar to letting your eyes wander while performing any ordinary chore. But after a few repetitions of the find food, eat food cycle. Fuck you, man. Lily puts down her fork and dabs. I hate myself. Her lips with a napkin. Hey, so, do you mind if I ask you a question? Damn, I want some food and about 4 hours of sleep, and nobody says, can I ask you a question for a simple question? Sure. You think of Hanako as a friend? Huh? This seems like a leading question. I guess so? What do you ask? No real reason. I have another question though. Why is it that you think of her as a friend? This is well above my level. What is she expecting from me? I'm not really sure. I guess it's because she's a little different in the way she deals with people. Since I've known her, she hasn't really connected with anyone. She doesn't seem interested in other people, and I think people are a little scared off by her appearance. Really? I thought that kind of thing was, well, discouraged here. Discriminating and such. If I were to put it in one way, she furrows her brow and thought, not her bra, her bro, and thought, a move which makes me slightly anxious as to what she's blocking from her mind. I'd say that you're a little naive. Naive? I'd be insulted if not for the slightly cynical grin on her face. I see. While Yamaku has a stronger sense of community compared to other schools, it's far from being free of conflict. Rules cannot remove human nature after all, only suppress it. That's something I've noticed actually. Just little things like how certain people in cliques avoid each other in the hallways. It's not different than my old school, really. Even Lilly and Shizune could be considered bitter rivals, even though they both seemed like fairly accepting people. Well, at least the Meisha-tinted Shizune does. Who knows what actually goes on with her fingers and behind her glasses. I guess you're right. When I first came here, everything was a bit of a shock. I kept on making mistakes, or at least thinking I was making mistakes, like when we first met and I said, I see to you. I didn't know if that was considered rude or anything, so I tried to just put it in the back of my mind, treating people any differently and that kind of thing. So I didn't. I told myself that Hanako and you and everyone else was just normal, and I tried to ignore the obvious. Talked to Hanako as if she were any other person, and so we became friends. At least that's how I think it happened. But you know, I feel guilty just from saying something like that aloud, as if it took extra effort to think of Hanako or you or anyone here as normal people. I don't think that's right. Hisao, I think you're naive, but I also think you're a good person. That's perhaps one of your better traits. I suppose I can take that as a compliment. Tell me, are you free tonight? If you don't count homework, then I am as free as the breeze. In that case, would you care to join myself and Hanko for tea? I don't really have that much money at the moment, so going out isn't really... Oh, I didn't mean going out. Just here, this evening. You can access the classroom in the evening here? No, that's not what I meant. Hanako and I often use my room for tea parties together. Please, feel free to drop by after dusk. Sure, I see no problem with that. What's your room number? 225, room 25 on the second floor. Okay, sure. Well then, I'd best be off. I have class representation duty to attend to, after all. Until this evening, Isao. Yeah, catch you later. Hang on, was I just invited to a girl's room after hours? Is that even allowed? There's the curfew here, but I've never heard any rules about visitors in the dorm rooms. And still, this is enough to get my sleep-deprived brain jump-started. Add that to a lukewarm breakfast and you have one hell of a pick-me-up. I grudgingly go to class, still excited at the prospect of breaking the rules. I feel a little like a kid planning to sneak out his window at night. Maybe that's going a little too far, but when you compare an invitation to a party to 6 or so hours of lecture, I know which one wins. Misha and Chizune do little to relieve my boredom either. For once they seem determined to actually complete Mato's assignments. Nevertheless, the day eventually winds to a close. I hurry back to my room to wash up and comb my hair. Thankfully, I don't run into Kenji. Before long, I'm leaving the boys' dorm. Nervously rap on the door marked 225, checking my watch once again. Is that you, Isao? The door is open, you can come in. Lily's voice lilts. Okay, learning new words with Katawa Shoujo. What the fuck does lilts mean? Hold on. Hold the... what the... Lilts. Lilts. Hold on. Lilts. Meaning. No. Not list. Lilts. Lilt refers to a gentle and pleasant rising and falling sound in a person's voice. That is fucking... That is so fucking precise. A lilt. Lilts through the door and soothe my nerves. Okay. First time I've ever heard of this word, really. This is the first time I've been invited to a girl's room after dark. Even though I know there is no ulterior motive behind this invitation, it doesn't stop my mind running wild with possibilities. One guy, 2 girls in a dorm room with a tea set. Put it like that, it sounds a little dodgy. Giving a small sigh to steady myself, I gingerly put my hand on the handle and opened the door, craning my head to see inside. Well, I can't say they're not cute, you know? Look at her. Look at her. Look at her little face. Oh, it's just so cute. The door opens completely and I catch my first glimpse of Lily's room. Her furniture looks almost antique, but the bare walls and flat surfaces are barely decorated at all. In the center of the room sits a low table where I see a small tea set at rest. It seems that everything in this room has its place, possibly excepting the several piles of books stacked up against the wall. My sense of vision isn't the only one to be stimulated. The faint smell of something can be picked up on the air. Nail polish, perfume, makeup. It's hard to describe in any way other than girly. My eyes finish their quick sweep of the room before returning their position onto the girls. Lily sits next to a small table wearing very dark blue pajamas. Dark blue pajamas with shorts that show off plenty of her alluring pale legs. Opposite her, Hanako sits adorned in a conservative light pink gown. Her hands are firmly fixed between her legs, her shoulders forward, and her head down, as if trying to hide herself in it. It would be easy for her to do. It looks about 2 sizes too big for her. Waves of flannel flow from her frame, making her look like a child playing dress-up in her parents' clothes. She looks up to confirm my identity, and the beginnings of a thin smile creep across her face, before vanishing so fast that I can't be sure they ever were there. There's no point in you standing in the doorway, Hisao. I take a step into the room, closing the door behind me. My, I'm afraid this really is a small room for the 3 of us. Would you like to take a seat? I walk to the table and sit down, trying my hardest not to disturb anything along the way. I also can't help but steal a quick glance into Lily's top as I sit. To be robbed of sight would be a most terrible fate. Well now, how about some tea? Hanako, could you please pour? Sure. So, would you like... I would love some tea. Do you need a hand? No, I'm fine. Thank you. Lee finds it difficult to resist a smile at her companion's nervousness, something I can't really blame her for. Been a tiring day? Yeah. Relax at my place, opposite of the cabinet. To my left is the blue-clad Lilly, and to my right sits the pig. Oh, Hanako! The tea set on the table looks cute as well as practical, painted red with a floral motif. It looks odd when contrasted with Lily's plain but generally sophisticated looking furniture, which leads me to think that Hanako might have picked it out. There's a slight ting when Hanako accidentally clips the teapot on a cup as she is pouring. She breathes in sharply. She breathed in shortly. She must be really nervous, as it's not the kind of thing anyone will worry about. Hanako quivers at her mistake. It's okay, Hanako. There's no need to be nervous. Hanako seems to find some confidence in Lily's reassuring, soft-spoken words and deftly pours the next 2 cups. Here you are, so, Lily. Hanako carefully places a cup and saucer in front of Lily and myself. They get used to service like this. Thank you, Hanako. Yeah, thanks. You're welcome. Lily searches for her cup, and upon finding it, sips delicately. I do the same. This tea tastes somewhat better than the tea we usually have at school. This is nice, so different from any tea I had before. It's like you picked the right one, Hanako. You've done well, even if it was a bold move. Hanako's smile returns, redoubled. Even with her blighted face, her shy smile couldn't be called anything but cute. I'm glad you like it. Hanako, finally beginning to relax, sips from her cup. Something about this makes me think about Lily's question at breakfast. Why am I friends with Hanako? It seems genuinely concerned for Hanako's well-being, but it's not like I can do anything to help her. As far as I can tell, her scars don't hold her back physically, and everyone I've met seems to have overcome their disabilities to some extent. I don't have any ulterior motives to hang out with Hanako, we just share similar interests. Isn't that enough? So, are you enjoying yourself? His words break me out of my reverie, and I take a second to reconsider where I am. I'm in a room with 2 girls in their bedclothes. This is something to be enjoyed. Yeah, it's relaxing. Almost like I'm not in the school anymore. Do you do this often? quite often, but not as often as we take tea in the school building. Consider they do have that nearly every day, that's not a big surprise. So I moved to take another sip from my teacup. I find it sadly empty. That was delicious. Thank you, Hanako, Lilly. You're welcome. Yes, you're most welcome, Hisao. It's nice to have a third person here. Well, anytime you need someone to fill that position, I'm always available. Always. One must be sure to get one's point across in these circumstances. Lily lets loose a yawn, which she unsuccessfully hides with her hands. Pardon me, I think I'm a little tired. I think we're all a little tired. My, how was you were tonight, Hanako? Well, you should head to bed. We all have class tomorrow. Yeah, I should go. Thank you for your presence, Hisao. Thanks. You'll come again? Not even a whole arm... not even a whole army could stop me. I'm impressed by your determination, Hisao. Either way, you're right. We'd best get going. I stand up and make for the door. Hanako gingerly stands up behind me. I stop and face her. Are you coming with me? Hanako instantly blossoms into full blush. No, this room isn't... It's okay, I was only joking. Oh, okay. Good night. Good night, Hanako. Good night, Hisao. Night all. With that, our tea party finishes. Still not sure what it is that Lilly wants me to do for Hanako, but I don't want to let her down. I wait until the door has closed behind us before turning to Hanako. Hey, Hanako, you know, you don't have to be nervous around me or anything. I mean, we're friends, right? Right, we're friends. If you ever want to hang out or anything, just let me know. We still need to have the chess rematch, remember? Sure. But I don't think you'll win. It wouldn't be any fun if it was easy. Hanako seems to give a muted laugh, but she could have just as easily been exhaling. Good night, Hisao. At that, Hanako quickly retreats into her room, located next to Lily's. I start to walk back to my dorm, but the simple act of walking seems to drain me of my energy. Barely make it to my room before I am hit by a wave of exhaustion. I kick off my shoes, fall into bed, and fall asleep by the time my head hits the pillow. Bam bam bam, boom bam beam, 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 boom bam beam. Put my door closed, ready for another day of classes. Oh god, I forgot about him. Sleep well! Kenji's sudden arrival makes me jump. And I narrowly avoid butting heads with him. That's not the... I know he has poor eyesight, but he knows who I am now. Does he have to stand this close? Oh yeah, like a baby. Damn, why do people say that? Have you ever heard of baby sleep? They scream all night, every night. Babies don't sleep well, ever. Well, there goes my restful state. I have to remember to never use figures of speech with Kenji. Alright, I get your point. It was a figure of speech. Yeah, sure, whatever. Where were you last night? I had a favor to ask, but you weren't around. For a split second, I considered telling Kenji the truth. That I was spending time with Hanako and Lilly. Thankfully, that split second passes as soon as it came. I was just out, checking out the local area and stuff. You know, I reckon. Good man, good. I knew you were the type to plan ahead. Anyway, what was this favor you wanted? Oh no, that's me. Anyway, what was this favor you wanted? I was going to get some takeout, but I need change. Wait, what? I gave you money last week and you still haven't paid me back. Chan, I was starting to think you were cool. Kenji fishes around in his pocket and produces his wallet. As he counts out the 400 yen he owes me, I can clearly see at least 10,000 yen notes. Hey, what the hell? Why are you borrowing money of me when you've got so much cash? Kenji hisses a little, realizing that he's been had. Get off my case, man! It's bad luck to break a big note for anything less than half his value. It's a tycoon's rule. Last night's dinner is going to cost me 7 years of bad luck. 7 years! Do you think that's enough to cause to help someone out? I get a shorter sentence if I just stole the stuff. My common sense screams at me to say something to him, but thankfully I restrain myself. Arguing a point like this with Kenji would just lead to further and more complicated discussions. Yeah, I guess you're right. Maybe you should plan these things a little better. Yeah, man, I know, but I've just got so much stuff to do. It's hard, and you're never around anymore, so I'm on my own. We're supposed to be brothers in brotherhood, remember? Yeah, I get you. Global conspiracy and such. I get my hair onto the ground. Oh my god, I'm getting everything. Kenji draws close enough for me to get a clear whiff of his garlic-tainted breath. You'd better, man. You're already spending less time here. That's the first thing they do. They try to split us up. Divide and conquer. Sun Tzu said that. Roger that. Now I've got to be going. I've got classes. You're coming? Nah, I'm tired. I slept up all night just to make sure nothing was going to happen after splitting that note. Rational as ever, I see. Whatever. Night. Kenji scurries back into his room, and I hear him throwing his locks as I walk down the hallway. And good. I'm gonna save here. There we go. And main menu. Alright guys, that was episode 8 of Katawa Shoujo. I'm not gonna be positive that a lot happened in this episode, but I guess more will happen when we start maybe unveiling HANAKO'S character. But anyway, that's it for episode 8. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I will see you for episode 9 as always. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you like the video and want to see more of them. But yeah, thank you very much guys, and I will see you next time. Kudos.